So guys and gals, when it comes to riding motorcycles and the worst happens, is it always our fault? Well, there are unfortunately quite a lot of people out there that are of that opinion, that in a crash there was lots of things you could have done to avoid it, to get around it. And even though that might be the case, I still disagree with the statement that it is our fault, even when it isn't. So anyway, let's jump on the ZZR, let's go for a ride, and let me tell you what I'm on about. It is true, guys and gals, that when you are a motorcyclist, you have to be ultra hyper aware, even to the point where you are paranoid that every other driver out there is out to get you. And if you have that attitude, then well, you're going to learn to expect a hell of a lot more than maybe a normal rider would. And I do think that is the right attitude to have, that you have to be looking in every which way direction, you have to be knowing exactly what's going on around you at all times. It's quite funny actually, because in the video that we released recently, I can't remember what the subject matter was about, but I was just riding along and I was chatting to you guys, doing the video, and two riders came up from behind me. I mean, I wasn't going too slow down that road, but yeah, I was going a bit slower down that road because I was concentrating on talking to you guys and the point I was trying to make at that particular time. But yeah, two motorcyclists, they came zooming past me, they overtook me, and I said I didn't see them coming. And that was a mistake on my part. There is no arguing that whatsoever. I made a mistake there, and it was because I was distracted. And that's the thing, whenever I'm doing these videos, I'm very distracted because I'm concentrating on the video. And so, yes, everyone makes mistakes and everyone can get distracted. But more often than not, as long as you are able to stay aware when you're riding normally, like, I mean, you know, whenever I'm riding normally, honestly, I'm hyper aware. I know everything that's going on around me all the time. But I'm not always concentrating that hard when I'm doing these videos. I'm going through the motions, really. When it comes to riding the bike itself, I'm just going through the motions. And I know that is the wrong attitude to have. So anyway, it's kind of like do as I say, not as I do type deal when it comes to at least this scenario where I'm doing these moto vlogs. But do I agree with that statement that everything is our fault? No, I don't agree with that statement. Even though, yes, in almost every scenario that you can think of, there are things that the rider could have done to avoid that particular crash, to avoid that particular incident, whatever the hell it might be. I don't agree with it's always the rider's fault. We have had it here on the channel before where we've had viewers saying about their crashes, and there was one occasion where it was filmed. And this basically, what had happened, this is 125 guy, so definitely go and check out his YouTube channel and his Instagram and all that stuff if you want to. But yeah, he's got a video on there about how he was filtering, and he rides a 125, so he wasn't going that fast anyway, but he was just filtering around traffic, and a van pulled out from this side of the road, couldn't see him filtering, kept on going, and he crashed into them. That is not the rider's fault, in my opinion. The rider couldn't have seen the van coming out the junction, and really, I mean, to be fair, the van driver couldn't have seen him filtering either. But basically, the van driver wasn't looking in his direction as he came out the junction. So that's a really tough one. And in that scenario, I mean, I don't think you can lay any fault at any feet there, you know. That kind of thing just happens. Yeah, and it absolutely sucks. But there have been others as well where people have pulled out in front of junctions, no traffic around them whatsoever. They just simply didn't see the bike coming, which is a load of bollocks, by the way. I'm pretty sure that in most of these instances they do see the bike coming, but they don't realize how fast it is. And I'll give you another example of that in a second. But yeah, and the rider rode into them, crashed into them, because there's nothing else they could have done. And okay, I mean, that's just the one kind of point of view from the rider, the viewer, that was telling us what had happened. But you know, I mean, if you take it at face value, which I'm pretty sure you can, because again, this was on another 125cc motorcycle as well, it's very, very difficult to anticipate those kinds of things. To be fair, when I do see a car or a van coming up to a junction, I do slow down. I slow down and I wait for as long as I can to try and anticipate what they're going to do before I commit to going past the junction myself. But you know, I mean, again, that's not always the case. Yeah, it's just a habit that I try to do because I'm weary of this kind of stuff happening to me. But yeah, it's anyway, going back to what I was saying earlier about how drivers don't know how fast you're going. You know, they say they don't see you, but they don't really know how fast you're going. They think they can get out before you approach the junction. Well, I've got a video of that myself. Again, I was on my wife's Ninja 125, and a load of people criticised me for that instance because I was doing, I think it was 41 mile an hour. This is in on the speedo, 41 mile an hour. I was probably doing about 37, but anyway, that's here nor there, because of course every speedo on every car, every motorcycle is always shows a higher speed than actually what you're doing. I mean, right now it's saying I'm doing about 49 miles an hour. I'm actually probably doing close to 45. Okay, but you might be able to demonstrate that on this road here actually, because there are some kind of not speed guns, but they tell you what speed you're doing, I think, down this road, so you might be able to demonstrate that later. But anyway, so there was a point where on the opposite side of the road there was a driver on approach, and they should have given way to me because there's like some kind of obstacle in the road, some kind of stupid cyclist thing. I don't know why they do it, but anyway, so they should have given way to me. The oncoming traffic from their perspective had right of way. So anyway, I started slowing down, of course, because I saw this car coming. But I was expecting them to stop because that's what you're supposed to do. And lo and behold, they didn't. They thought they had enough room to get out around the obstacle and get in front of me. Okay. Now my argument towards that was that, well, no, it couldn't have been my fault because I had right of way. And to be fair, right of way is right of way. There is no arguing against it. If you have right of way and a driver pulls out in front of you, because they're the one that's going into your lane. Yeah, let's not forget that they're the one that is moving over into oncoming traffic. Here we go, look. So it's saying 34, 33, 24, and I'm doing about 38. All right, 38 going through that thing there, and it picked up about 34 miles an hour. All right, so that's a pretty good example right there. But yeah, a lot of people totally disagreed, and that video actually got picked up by quite a few of these idiot driver compilation videos and things like that. And I looked in the comments of those as well because I was curious, and people were saying about how stupid I was for doing 41 in a 30 going around that corner. And I mean, whatever, people are entitled to their opinions, but that attitude is that same attitude where it is always my fault. It's always the rider's fault. Yes, I could have slowed down. Of course I could have. But at the same time, I had right of way, and there's no arguing that. You can't argue that I had right of way. Simple as that. Right? So they should not have come into my lane, because they're the ones that are causing the danger. That's why I have right of way, because they're the ones that are going to be creating an obstacle for oncoming traffic because they're going to move over into my lane. All right, I don't understand how people don't get that, but anyway, people don't understand that. Whatever, fair enough. But there are people that are. My point is that people that still argue that point, that fact that it was my fault because I was going too fast. Whatever. Okay, doing 37 and a 30, I don't think it's that much of a big deal. But like I kind of mentioned in an earlier video, people kind of make you think you're an axe murderer for doing over a 34 mile an hour in a 30. You know, it's like, come on, man. All right, whatever. Not a big deal. And the thing is, I anticipated that driver was going to do that, so I slowed down. I moved over. Luckily, there was enough space for both of us to get through. So I was able to avoid the situation that wasn't of my choosing. I didn't cause the problem to begin with, but I still had the time, and I was still able to avoid an oncoming car effectively. Now, I mean, that's quite an old clip now. I think it's about a year old, so you guys let me know down in the comments what you guys think about that. Because, of course, again, it's going to be very, very divisive. Very, very divisive, that subject. And again, because I did anticipate that they were going to do something like that, because that's the attitude you have to have. You have to anticipate that everyone is going to do something, everyone's going to out to get you. You have to have that attitude to anticipate what's going on. But these situations are not necessarily the rider's fault. And in a lot of cases, like I kind of mentioned earlier, there's nothing a rider could have done to avoid that particular scenario. You know what I'm trying to say here? So no, I don't like that argument whatsoever, but unfortunately that is the argument that a lot of people seem to make. And even though, yes, more often than not, it is true that a rider almost always has an opportunity to do something different in that particular scenario, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you could make the argument that, well, in this situation, it doesn't matter whose fault it is if you're dead, right? Doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter whose fault it is, because that person caused an error that killed someone. Okay? And yes, a rider can always do something different. Of course they can. Everyone can always do something different. So can the other person. They could have done it differently. Whatever they did, they could have done it differently as well. So I don't like this whole attitude where, oh, everyone's to blame. No. One person causes a problem whenever, in almost, well, I was going to say 99% of situations, but no. In a lot of situations, they're caused by both parties as well. Both parties make mistakes, and catastrophic mistakes that cause crashes. But no, more often than not, there is one party that is at fault for a particular crash, a particular accident that happened. There is always someone who made a catastrophic error in that moment. And if you have the attitude that no, it's the rider's fault all the time, then guess what? These dickheads get away with it. They get away with causing these problems. And no, I think this is an attitude problem and a skill problem in general with the wider population of people. Why on earth is that person on the road driving a car if they don't understand what give way means? If they don't understand how to look before they come out of a junction? How on earth are these people on the roads? The thing is as well, that more often than not, these people, they don't think it's their own fault anyway, even though they are the ones that made the error. They're the ones that made the catastrophic error that could have gotten someone killed. They don't think it's their fault. Never. They never do. They never do. And we need to hold these people accountable for these things. We do. They need to know when they made a mistake. Now, I don't know about you guys, right? But if I make a mistake, man, more often than not, I own up to it. Especially if it was me that inconvenienced someone else, say on the opposite side of the road. Or, I don't know, say for example, I pulled out in front of someone at on a roundabout or a junction or something like that. Or even if I'm on a roundabout and I switch lanes and I didn't mean to, it was an accident, I didn't mean to do it, I own up to it. I say I'm really sorry. I say I'm sorry to the other person that I've affected. I apologize to them because it was my fault. I own up to it. And people don't do that these days. They don't own up to the issues that they cause. I don't know, for pride or whatever, I don't know. No one likes to be told they're a bad driver or something like that. But unfortunately, you have to learn from these mistakes. But there are so many riders out there that do not learn from their mistakes, guys. They don't learn from them. They never do, because they're so arrogant. They think they're the best riders in the world, the best drivers in the world, whatever, and they're not. But unfortunately, you have those people out there. So let's change our attitude, yeah? If you make a mistake, own up to it and apologize. Even if it all works out okay and, you know, no accidents happen, no crashes happen, nothing happens whatsoever, apologize. Say sorry that you made a mistake. Yeah? Now, I know that there is the argument that could be made that from an insurance point of view, you should never apologize because you're acknowledging guilt of fault. Right, I get that, but at the same time, guys, again, if you're the one that caused the accident, then yes, your insurance company should be the ones that pay out. Alright, I know that everyone gets really freaked out by insurance companies and things like that, but that's what they are for. Right, if you make a mistake, the insurance company is there to pick up the slack. That is what they're for, right? To protect you in the event of a crash. Protect you both financially protect you in terms of physical health, things like that, alright? That's what they are there for, so don't worry about the insurance thing. I know that some people are going to disagree with me on that as well, but just own up to it if you are the person to blame for a particular action, an error that you did. Okay, just own up to it. There's no big deal, alright? Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It doesn't matter how good of a driver you are, doesn't matter how good of a rider you are, doesn't matter how long you've been doing it for, if you've been doing it for 5 years, 20 years, 30 years. Everyone makes mistakes, yeah? So just keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, guys and gals, no, I don't agree with that statement that it's always the rider's fault, alright? Because people should be made accountable for their actions. People who make an error should be told that they made an error, and they should, I mean, again, I've mentioned this before as well, I'm quite self-reflective on how I'm riding, and I mean, look, right now I'm riding a bit too close to this truck. I mean, to be fair, I'm looking to overtake it. In fact, I might have a little go right, oh, it's a bend, no, can't do it. But I'm quite self-reflective as well. If I make a mistake or something like that in life in general, I do think about those mistakes, and I do think about how I could have done them differently. And that's how you should be. You should be reflective, self-reflective. And you know, like I said, everyone makes mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake, as long as you own up to it, and as long as you are able to correct that mistake, or you're able to make it right. Anyway, guys and gals, I mean, I think that's everything that I've got for you in today's video. So definitely let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'm gonna get past this truck because I can. Woo! Damn, that's fun. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Take care, ride safe, leave a like, hit subscribe, let us know what you think down in the comments, and we will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.